Thanks, James. Hello, everybody. My name's Andy. I'm an addict. Wow. Birmingham District 3rd Unity event, and thank you for asking me to drop the closing share. It's a real privilege to be here, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool being a CA member today. I love CA. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for CA. Sometimes I forget that a little bit, but deep down, I know that it's because of Cocaine Anonymous and things like this, events like this, I'm still here. And welcome to anyone who's new. Carl, I think, and Gemma, other guys that are on here that are back from relapses. Welcome. I get you. We get you. And we got you. That's why we're here. Your potential sponsors, as far as I'm concerned, nothing else. That's what this program is all about. That's what I've learned about the 12-step process, is that the book and the meetings and fellowship and the network that's growing up in Cocaine Anonymous throughout the UK is just a training ground for sponsorship, so that we can go on and help others to achieve the same freedom that we've got. And if you're new, it's so sad, because events like this, like in the room, in the big church hall with all the chairs and the speaker system and the mic and everything, and literature everywhere, and the tea and coffee and all the people running around doing service. I mean, it's just amazing. Trust me, I've been to a lot of them, and over the sort of decade or ever that I've been coming to CA, I've been to events just like this in Birmingham, all over the world, all over Europe, in America. And I'll tell you, if you haven't experienced any of that yet, then stick around, because you see people get lit up. You see like newcomers going and queuing up for books and on the stage, picking up white key rings, and celebrity speakers signing books, and it's just and you're getting like t-shirts and memorabilia and merchandise and everything. I mean, it's and there's like parties and stuff like that. So if you are new, there's more to this. There is more. It's in the pipeline, and CA is coming of age. There's a renaissance of in this fellowship, and I think that I'm a part of that, and and I'd love it if you new guys in on this and can be part of that as well. So yeah, thanks to all the previous speakers that have discussed the mental states that precede a relapse into drinking. We're aware, aren't we? Or some of us are, that is the crux of the problem. That's why it's discussed so much. That's why we're here today, I suppose, to help the newcomers determine to their own satisfaction if they're one of us or not, by exploring that stuff, by exploring the mental states that precede a relapse into drinking, and those stories of that Leanne spoke about, the jaywalker, first of all, it's huge, and the other guys, going through Fred, and Jim and Roland Hazard that Nick put down so well. They're all kind of like characters in the book, including Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob as well, that we can use to help us to work with the new guy. And you don't often hear that really spoken about in meetings an awful lot, because that's normally sort of procedure that goes down one-on-one. And chapter 7 is quite clear about that. You know, it says, see your man alone. And I don't want to sound like I've kind of swallowed a big book or anything like that. You know, and I know that, you know, I have, but, you know, I know that a lot of people on there have, and they've already spoken about the symptoms of the peculiar mental twist, and those illustrations, those instructive stories about those guys, you know, help us to determine whether or not we belong in Cocaine Anonymous. Pretty cool. And there's also, you know, if you look on page 20 to 21 in the big book, that also sort of helps us diagnose ourselves, if you like. And we can do that if you're new, you don't know. You can do that with this book, with a sponsor, and sharing your own experience and sort of stripping it all back and looking at what you've been trying to do to prevent relapse. It's really, I found that to be really helpful. Looking at what worked and what didn't, and looking at the periods of time that it worked, and there's some very kind of like pertinent questions that go on in that process. And yeah, it's just amazing. What I found that after being around for the time that I have, and being kind of like speaking about this stuff pretty much from the minute I wake up in the morning, it's on my mind. I'm studying it. I've been talking about it. I've been texting people about it. I've been working with others. I've even worked in a treatment center for 5 years, doing groups on it, talking about it, talking to my sponsor about it, arguing with people about it, getting into fights with people about it, getting kicked out of meetings because of it. Being like banned from meetings and other fellowships because of it. You know, that's how much I am into this. That's how much it means to me. That's how passionate I am about it. And you know, and I'm in it. And I've been in it pretty much every day since I've been here. It's just what I do. It's just part of who I've become. It's just part of what I know to be the most important thing in my life. To engage in this fellowship and in this process to help someone else do the same. And I think that, you know, that's what recovery is. I understand that today. I didn't really know that at the beginning, I'll be honest. But you know, recovery is just about me being there for someone else. Period. That's it. How I go about that, how I do that, I suppose that's up to me. There are some clear-cut instructions, suggestions, if you like, in the big book in chapter 7. You know, and if you look on page 90 to 92, 90 to 94, maybe it tells us, you know, that give him an account of the struggles that you made to stop, show him the mental twist which leads to the first drink of a spree. We suggest that you do this as we have done it in the chapter on alcoholism. And if he is an alcoholic, he'll understand you at once, you know. So that's what these guys previous have been talking about. It's kind of like it's why I'm still here, because I know that I suffer with that illness concept, that means that I can't predict when I'm going to use again, and that I need a higher power to step in and sort that out. You know, that's the nuts and the bolts of it all. But I suppose, you know, since I've been around, I've continuously seen, you know, good people work this program and want recovery more than anything. Yeah, more than anything in their life. Yet continuously relapse. Keep coming back here, relapsing and relapsing and relapsing. So much willingness, so much honesty, experience so much pain, losing everything in their life over and over again, wanting it so badly doing everything that they can, doing everything that it's been suggested that they do. Prayer, church, just whatever, anything, step fours, inventory, gratitude list, whatever they got to do, just getting on and doing it, service, meetings, and still relapsing. And then I've seen, flaky as fuck people, half measures people, hard drinkers, sticking around, service junkies, people, getting into relationships with newcomers, 13-stepping people, sticking around for years and years and years and years, and sharing from the top table, getting paid to go to be delegates and all that sort of stuff, and traveling all around the world, and still clean. I've seen people leaving treatment with their children in tow, adamant that they're never going to do it again, and they mean it, and relapsing on the way home and dying. I've sponsored people that have died. We all know people that have died of this illness, and it's all great that we can come here to these meetings and talking about how our lives have changed, how great our lives are now, how bad they were and how great they are now, and all the hard work that we've put in to make that change. I'm done with that. I don't do that. Some of the guys in my home group are still using, just waiting to go into treatment. And a sponsor said to me, like, read the first 50 pages of the book in a different way before you do your share today. And because I'm sort of I'm just here for the newcomer, really. How am I going to make that? How am I going to make it attractive for the newcomer to come to my home group on Friday night in Swindon? That's it. So a big welcome if you're new. Please. We do know what you're going through. You are not alone, and we've been there. And early on in recovery, for me, my experience is this. Yeah. I wasn't sure which fellowship to go to. I've been in and around several different fellowships, and they're all brilliant. I just love the other guys that I got friends in the other fellowships, and the lifelong friends. That's what's in store for you guys. Lifelong friends, and in this fellowship, who are in it together and building a network and having that connection with each other. There's some stuff that it talks about in the book as well, about that as addicts and alcoholics, that we can help where no one else can. And it talks about, like, professionals doing what they can to help us. And they're really important, and they've been a part of my journey. I know they've been a part of a lot of the other guys' journeys that are on here, and yeah, for sure. But they ain't gonna, they're very I think it says loathsome to tell you the truth, and we can do that. Yeah, there's nothing in it for us. Yeah, we ain't getting paid for helping you. We can tell you that you're full of shit. Yeah, we can do that. There's no consequence for us other than, well, there just isn't. And there's a sort of level of respect there, I think, because of that. Yeah. There's a sort of a common ground. There's like I don't know, just the boundaries are just right. And for me, when I first got into CA, the boundaries that, the guys that I was knocking about with, the guys that were doing this, that that were kind of working their 12 step on me, they're all about that, do their daily phone calls on a specific time. It was about that. Yeah. And it was about get some service, do this, do that, and I just did exactly what I was told. And I never questioned it, not once. I never questioned the man who helped me, who was like 10 years or whatever clean when I come in. What, and it's just remarkable that you see people in the fellowship, do that. Does your life depend on it or not? What about your kids? And yeah, that's sort of going off on a little bit of a sidetrack, but you get my point. It's like so important, I think, that I had to follow some real kind of like instructions and guidance from people, from the men who've been there before me and done this before I had. And yeah, I'm a person of my own mind. I'm not being brainwashed or by these people, but I didn't want to use again. And that for me, that's any lengths. And I've been told, that it's not about how far I've come. It's about how far I'm willing to go. What am I prepared to do for the next man, for the man who's still sick? And for me, that looks a little bit like having him in my house, putting him in my on my sofa in my spare room. That means like traveling up and down the country to pick people up when they ring me because they've relapsed. That means any lengths to me means not getting into a place of judgment around how someone's sharing because they're this or they're that or they've got something wrong or whatever. We're all here for the same reason, aren't we? We all want the same thing. We all want to like have a life without drugs and alcohol again. And yeah, just being part of that, and being part of a group of people and being here today just proves that, that we all kind of like if there's like 50 odd people on here, we can sponsor 5 people each. It's a lot of people, and I believe that CA is growing. We're all growing, but more importantly, in this period where we can't really have face-to-face meetings, people are still coming on here. They've never been to meetings before, physical meetings, and they're coming onto Zoom and they're meeting up and doing 5th steps. And I know that like I think Ben's doing his 5th step next week. Wow. He's never been to I don't think he's ever been to a normal meeting before, and just so cool that that can go on. And I think that there's been a massive surge in public information, within this fellowship, where we're now working really tightly and cooperating with professionals that come into contact with us. H&I, hospitals and institutions, where we carry the message into those places, that's taken a massive leap as well. We're still being effective, but like, what are you doing as an individual? Ask yourself, what are you doing in your community, in your neighborhood, for your local smackhead, your local junkie who's kicking about, who you see every morning. That's for me. That's like where I work my 12 step with those guys, and yeah, that the meetings should be rammed full of people, shouldn't they? And but there's a lot of people that don't even know that we're here, that we exist. And I'll end my share on this, just reading from the book that I find to be quite provocative and sort of makes me think about what I'm doing, not for my recovery, I don't do anything for my recovery anymore. How about that? I don't. I just don't. It's about Paul and Ben. It's about them. God's in charge of my recovery. I don't work my program to the best of my ability. You know, God does all that for me. God sorts me out. God's got my back. God's got me on, you know, I'm good to go with the big man. But what about the man who's still sick? That's where it's at for me. You know, I put their recovery first. I have to. And the book's quite clear on that as well. Go and look for it throughout, not just in chapter 7, not just in all the technical bits of step 1 that that you've heard already this afternoon. Yeah, but the whole altruistic movement of Alcoholics Anonymous and how all the other 12-step fellowships have grown up, you know, on the back of it. Yeah, it's all to do with helping others. You know, it says we must act the good Samaritan every day. A kindly act once in a while isn't enough. You know, the spiritual text message that you send every morning to the guy who's still banging up in his groin, it ain't going to help him. It ain't going to help. I'm 10 years clean, nearly 9 years clean. Don't send me a spiritual fucking text message. Thank you very much. I don't need that. Just don't do it. Page 152. Fucking hell. Need the bins. Says it's on page 152 in A Vision for You, and I'll end on this reading if that's all right, James. Says we have shown how we got out. We have shown how we got out from under. Yeah, it goes on to say there is a solution, and it is vastly more than that. Yeah, it's more than just step 1. It's more than just step 11. Yeah, it's more than just the meetings. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus we find fellowship, and so will you. And how is that to come about, you ask? Where am I to find these people? You know, as you step over the man in the street while you're shopping, while you're doing your weekly shop. It says you are going to meet these new friends in your own community. Near you, alcoholics and addicts are dying helplessly, like people in a sinking ship. If you live in a large place, there are hundreds, high and low, rich and poor. These are future fellows of Cocaine Anonymous. Among them, you will make lifelong friends. You will be bound to them with new and wonderful ties, for you will escape disaster together, and you will commence, shoulder to shoulder, your common journey. Then you will know what it means to give of yourself that others may survive and rediscover life. You will learn the full meaning of love thy neighbor as thyself, and stop thinking about yourself. And I just want to say thank you for letting me share. I'm sure, you know, if I've left anything really important out, then, you know, you guys will fill in the gaps. Thank you very much. Cheers.